Look, it's almost impossible, I think, to keep tabs on the extent to which the cherished values of the past are being irrevocably erased. We now know, for example, that the freedoms that men and women of the past fought and died for are either being eroded or have been eroded. And the most conspicuous, of course, is freedom of speech. I challenge anyone to tell me that they are not frightened to say what they think, when what they're thinking doesn't fit the woke or politically correct formula. Have you noticed the disappearance of constructive debate? In Ukraine, President Zelensky is fighting for the nation's sovereignty. Where is our nation's sovereignty when important assets and infrastructure are sold to foreign entities? Does it matter who runs the country if we don't own its important assets, like, for example, the Port of Darwin? On climate change, no one is prepared to debate the merits or otherwise of carbon dioxide, nor can they tell us what percentage is in the atmosphere. In 2019, I was on the ABC program Q&A on this very issue. There was a star-studded panel, including the now Treasurer Jim Chalmers. As proof that the climate cult doesn't want to hear actual numbers, listen to this exchange which occurred between me and the lady next to me on the panel, the talented journalist Alice Workman. When I asked, well, just a moment, Alice, you've been speaking for most of the night. When I asked Tanya Plibersek,
we'll fact check that one for you.
Yes.
When I asked Tanya Plibersek, was the Deputy Leader of the Labor Party and the potential Deputy Prime Minister, was carbon dioxide the big issue in relation to climate change? And she said yes. I then said, well, that being the case, what percentage of the atmosphere is made up of carbon dioxide? And she said, I don't know. And I said, hang on, you don't know what percentage of the atmosphere is carbon dioxide, and yet you're prepared to stand the economy on its head to address a problem, the detail of which you don't know. So when I then explained that the percentage of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, Alice, is how much? Alice, how much of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere?
To answer the question, Scott Morrison has said he believes in climate change and that he wants to do something about it.
Alice, how much carbon dioxide is the problem? How much carbon dioxide is there in the atmosphere?
I'm not a scientist.
Too much.
I don't know. I'm a
well, hang on. If you're going to argue the case, you ought to know. It's 0.04%. And of that 0.04%, human beings around the world create 3%. And of that 3%, Australia creates 1.3%. So for the 1.3% of 3% of 0.04%, we then decide to have a national economic suicide note. Now,
Alan, I'm happy for you to have made that point, which...
You see, no one was prepared to debate the figures, and they didn't know them. Indeed, as you saw, the debate was chopped off. But the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change rules our lives.